Alright, so I want to do an unboxing and a review of this Goingmake concealed hinge jig. I have the Goingmake pocket hole jig as well, which I've used quite a bit now. I'm very impressed with it. Let's unbox. Got the little manual there, just like the pocket hole jig, very well packaged. All, feels like this cast aluminum product. Feels very high quality, very well made. So let's have a look at it. Oh yeah, so it's got that little clamp on the bottom there to clamp it on the piece. This I really like. We'll see how it works in real life, but I like you just lock that in and quickly take it out so you can leave the guide separate. Then we've got these, which you can change the gap between the back of the hinge and the frame, so that adjusts where the hinge sits. And these are on the top side. I believe they go on the underside. That's how you get the thing right. Got some extra bits and pieces here. I always like it when they add extra ones of these, because the little set Allen key bolts, because they always end up breaking. Not entirely sure what that is. Maybe it goes on there. I'll have to do some looking at the instructions to figure out. That looks like where it goes, but for what purpose, I don't know. Oh yeah, okay. So this is, can fit it right into that slot there. And I guess you use that to mark your the hinge screw holes. So put a little dot, and you can countersink or pilot hole your hinge screws. So that's handy. Again, I love it. It all feels super high quality. The way that sits in there is very nice. Even this feels good quality. Oh yeah, and so it's got multiple, depending on which style hinge you're using, you set up these in the correct one. So it looks like we're at, I don't know, 4211, 48.6. I don't know what that means, but we'll figure it out. And then last, they've got the Forstner bit, which I am hoping is the right size for, I guess these are all the same. All these hinges have the same puck size, so you use the same Forstner bit. All right, let's give it a go. Okay, so firstly, I figured out what this was for. It's just a dust, I figured out by reading the instruction manual. It tells you. So this is just a dust collector, and that screws on there. I'm going to leave that off because I don't have the vacuum set up for that at the moment, but that will be good. The other cool thing, which the instructions showed me as well, was this feature here. So this is the guide that holds the Forstner bit, locks in when you're ready to drill. But to set the depth, and this is one of my favorite things about Goingmake, that they thought of something like this. They have a little depth gauge here. It gives you the ability to, using one of these, the screws here. Oh, my camera's falling again. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you're using one of the same screws that you use to set your depth. Oh, sorry, your how far you want the hinge to be inset. You slip that into there's a hole here on the Forstner bit, let's call it a Forstner guide. And you screw it into the side, like that. Don't need to go too crazy. And then you get your Forstner bit. And then you can go and very accurately set your depth. So say if the depth of this puck on this was, I'm going to guess probably 7/16 or something like that. Then you come up, you see 1/2 inch there, go 1/16 back, and then I haven't got this out yet, but get out your stop collet there and screw that on in that location. This is such a great feature that Goingmake adds on their products, including the pocket hole jig. They have one for the depth of the pocket hole drill bit, it's just such an obvious feature to include, and so many companies, especially the cheaper ones, don't include this. But even some of the more expensive ones miss this, and that's why I'm gonna buy quite a few of this brand's tools, just because I'm so impressed with these little extra things that they've used, and just the high quality feel of the whole thing. So I'm going to set this up, and then we're going to do a couple of drills, see how it goes. So I've got these pegs set at 3mm. I believe that's what I'm used to setting it at from all the other cabinets I've done, but you can change it to whatever you want it to be. But let's start on that. Alright, so I got my Forstner bit set just right. I'm not too sure what this little copper looking ring is supposed to be for. I couldn't really tell from the manual where that was supposed to be installed, but I figure it's just a sacrificial piece in between those two. I'm not too sure, maybe reduces friction or something. Let me know if you know what that's for so I can put it in the right spot, but that's where I got that set for, and let's give it a go. Oh, and I've got this piece clamped down to the table. Lock that in. Alright, this does get a little stuck in there, but I guess I'm not using any extraction, so. Wondering why I didn't have that plugged in, it's because my hose doesn't fit in there nicely, so that's why. Now I got to figure out which of these holes I use for this style of hinge. I'm just gonna set it in there, get my pencil, put a little mark, and then figure out with this guide which one it is. Okay, so it looks like it's these ones. I got my drill with the small pilot piece that they provided. That's extra long for some reason. I don't know why they gave us such a long drill bit. That's bizarre. So I'm just going to touch it to it, not go too deep. There you have it. And we'll make sure it all fits. Okay, so I need to go deeper. It's still not sitting far enough down. So why did that happen? Oh, I know why. Because I set this to the high point, not to this flat point. So that's where it's going to sit. So I'll go reset that and we'll re-drill it out and then see if it fits. Okay, so I figured something out. So the depth of the puck here is actually 7/16, like I'd kind of guessed. But this gauge actually, so there's this thickness of this piece here. So when this slots into the cutting platform, or into this base, there's actually this thickness here. And so what they've done to compensate for that thickness, you can see that the gauge starts a little bit off the end. So that compensates for this, and then you just need to set it to the depth based on that. So what I'd done is I'd used this to measure the depth, like this. And I was like, that's strange, it's only 5/16. And I went with that. So what you got to do is measure this independently off this scale. I mean, I guess you could measure it on that scale if you line it up with there, but that's a little janky. So I just went ahead and measured the depth of the puck here. It's going to be hard to show on camera. But you can see that's something around 7/16, and then set it accordingly on this. So there you go, the flat blade. I'm going to do it just a hair above. Tighten it down there. Alright, so now that should be the right depth. So just double check that on this gauge. Yep, just above 7/16. Looks like it's halfway, so should give us a bit of clearance, which is okay. We're doing 3/4 material anyway. Drilling into 3/4, so we should have plenty spare. Alright, now I've drilled it out. It's the proper depth. You can tell that because you can see. Well, you probably can't see. Now you can see that it's sitting nice and flush. The base before it was sitting up like this because I hadn't drilled it down deep enough. All right, I'm gonna find a couple of little screws to screw that in, and then we'll know what we're working with. So this is what I was talking about, the 3mm pegs, the adjustment on the thing, which is these ones. You set those to the desired distance that you want between the outside of the hole, the outside diameter of the hole, to the outside of your workpiece, which is this dimension here, in between there. So that's 3mm there. And I think that's what I like, but I'm doing it on a test piece first to make sure everything's working well before I do it on my actual doors, which I haven't made yet. All right, that is that. In summary, I'm very impressed with this product. There's only one critique, and this is really awkward to set. I mean, you might have noticed it as I was putting it together, but yeah, getting that arm dialed in was a little tricky, but I mean, a lot of the Kreg jig, I have the Kreg jig hinge bore hole kit as well. I mean, it's the basic one, it's not the fancy one, but it doesn't have that arm on at all. And the solution to that is you just, you come along with your quick grip clamps or something, and you clamp it to the workpiece, and that negates that. But it's good to have it there. I think I'm going to set that to, I mean, yeah, when I'm doing a big job, I'll set it all to the thickness, and it'll be very useful. But if it gets too annoying, then I'll just get rid of it and go back to clamps. I mean, you can take it off here. You might even be able to upgrade it and get a better one of these. I mean, if you come and have a look at my Kreg table, it has this clamp, which is really good. This is actually the other Goingmake product, which I'm happy with as well. But this one, and this is old now, so it's not working quite as good as it could. But it whatever, you can adjust the strength of the grip, but you don't need to adjust. You don't need to like do the screw adjustment to get it to clamp onto whatever. So the thickness of this material doesn't matter. So I could clamp it to this, which is about, half an inch. And then that's on there tight, like that is fixed to the table. And then I can go around without doing any adjustment, get this 3/4 piece, swing it around, and it grabs that block. So this kind of clamp, if they had a way to introduce that style of clamp instead of this style of clamp where you need to do all this adjustment, then it'd be like, then I don't think I'd be able to come up with any flaws to this. So yeah, if they could just make this better, then this would be perfect. So probably a solid 9 out of 10 here. I'm really impressed with everything in this what do they call it? The Goingmake Concealed Hinge Jig G35 Pro. So highly recommended. I'll put the prices as well. So I'll put the price for this, and then the price for the comparable Kreg hinge jig, because that's the other one that I was looking at getting, and yeah. So I was under the impression that Kreg had a similar bore hinge jig as Goingmake, but they don't. They have the more basic one that I showed the price of just there, which is actually cheaper, and it's a good product. I've used it a lot on site. It's easy to fit in the toolbox. It's nice and light, straightforward, all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't have nearly as many features as this one, and for the $16 more or whatever it is, and if you're going to do a lot of it, I think this is well worth getting. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that review. If you got any questions about it and think that I missed something on that, let me know, and I'll try to answer it for you. Yeah, keep tuned for the review of the pocket hole jig by the same company. I'm going to do a similar review for that because I really like it. Thanks. See ya.